Welcome to TV Africa News. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Nahabi Kajur, and in the headlines. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni stops ABRA from making deductions on SSF savers funds. 5 trillion locked up in unresolved court cases. And 4 Kenyan police jailed for murder of UK aristocrat's son. In our sports today, Nigeria, Algeria, Tunisia, and Cameroon complete Africa World Cup playoffs. Once again, thank you so much for joining us. We start with one of our top stories. The Chief Justice, Alphonse Owiny-Dollo, has said that due to inadequate funding, the Commercial Division of High Court has failed to dispose of over 6,000 cases, locking up 5 trillion shillings in litigation. Now, Owiny-Dollo made remarks while releasing the annual performance report of the judiciary for 2020-2021 financial year at the High Court in Kampala. Our reporter has more. The Chief Justice, Alphonse Owiny-Dollo, said that Supreme Court had the disposal rate of 14% with a clearance rate of 49%. The Court of Appeal, which serves the Constitutional Court, had a disposal rate of 17% and the clearance rate of 81%. The High Courts had 38% of disposal rate and 109% clearance rate. According to the Chief Justice, the judiciary had a total case load of 317,929. He said due to the weeding out dormant cases in accordance with the law, use of video conference system to hear cases which reduced the delay of bringing prisoners and suspects to court, use of alternative dispute resolution mechanisms, they have successfully concluded 156,875 cases. He added that the Chief Magistrate Courts had 15,604 backlog cases, while Magistrate Grade 1 courts had 4,896 backlog cases. So there is a need to amend the Magistrate Court Act to enhance jurisdiction for them to render meaningful service to our people. He said that 12.4 billion shillings was spent on renting premises for courts in different parts of the country. Owiny-Dollo retaliated that most of the court buildings are old but also small and inadequate to match the staff and court users, adding that there were challenges of lack of budget support to cater for accommodation in hard-to-reach areas like Kalangala, Buvuma Island, Bulisa, Buyende, which hindered access to judicial services. Thank you so much, our reporter. Moving on, Kampala City Traders Association has vowed to work hand in hand with security agencies to curb explosions that rocked Uganda's capital, Kampala, early on Tuesday, killing at least 3 civilians in what police described as coordinated attack by extremists. We have more on this report.
Addressing journalists at their offices in Kampala, the acting chairperson Kasita, Thaddeus Musoke, agreed that there has been laxity in terms of security in the central business district, but however promised to work with security to prevent any terror threats in Kampala.
Then we have written to all security agencies, committing ourselves and how determined we are to work with them to seek clear guidance and measures which the business community can implement in order to avoid other attacks like what happened yesterday.
Musoke also called upon Kampala Capital City Authority to make sure they clear all streets that are congested by street vendors in order to protect the lives of the business community from danger.
We have engaged KCCA and police several times about street vending, but they are very reluctant. The more the problem of street vending is not solved, is putting our lives at risk.
Musoke also said there is need to strengthen access to congested areas of downtown Kampala, such as Chikubo and Chiembe, which put traders' lives at risk.
Like the corridor between Gazaland and Galilaya, this business community of Chiembe and other areas where the congestion is high. because we find that the terrorists may use that opportunity to attack us.
Kampala is the capital and largest city of Uganda, with an estimated 1,680,000 people. The population growth rate stands at 5.22% as of the year 2021, which puts lives of many Ugandans at risk in case of terror attacks. At least 3 people were killed and 33 others wounded in twin suicide bombings yesterday in Kampala. Nalgo Muyingo, Africa Today.
May the souls of the deceased rest in eternal peace. Well, moving on, President Museveni has ordered the controversial Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority to get off the workers' savings in the National Social Security Fund. Museveni made the directive during meeting with the stakeholders of the NSSF Fund at State House in Tebe on Tuesday.
The meeting was attended by, among others, the Prime Minister Robinah Nabbanja, the Finance Minister Matia Kasaija, National Social Security Fund Managing Director Richard Byarugaba, Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development Betty Amongi, Government Chief Whip Thomas Tayewa, and members of Parliament for workers and special interest groups. During the meeting, stakeholders expressed that they were disappointed with the way business was being run between the Ministry of Finance and the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority. Museveni in reply expressed that he was also wondering why a body constituted by government would be using money from workers to pay its employees. Museveni maintained that members of the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority are not well vetted, further ordering that the authority should be completely restructured such that only those on merit are hired. This was the final contentious issue between the workers' representatives and the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development and the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development that has delayed the passing of the National Social Security Fund Bill. The bill will see contributors aged 45 and above have 20% mid-term access to their savings, while the people living with disabilities will also access up to 50% of their savings if they are 40 years and above, have saved for 10 years and are out of a job or are unemployed.
Well, thank you so much, our reporter. We take a quick break. We shall come back with the international news. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In our international news today, 4 Kenyan police officers were sentenced on Monday for the manslaughter of the son of a British aristocrat 9 years ago. Now, Alexander Monson was found dead in a police cell in the coastal town of Diani in May 2012. We have more on this report.
At a court in nearby Mombasa, Judge Eric Ogola read out the verdicts for the group of officers. Naftali Chege, Charles Munyili, Ismail Barak and John Pamba will all spend between 9 and 15 years behind bars. Following the verdict, Manson's parents reacted to the sentences. His father, Lord Nicholas Manson, said that he wished the verdict was stronger but was happy about the convictions. Manson's mother, Hilary Martin, said that while accepting the ruling and the judge's expertise as a mother, she believed the sentences were a poor exchange for the work which had been put into the legal case. She also highlighted the fates of other mothers who have lost children and particularly sons to police violence in Kenya. Before his death in 2012, Alexander Manson was arrested at a nightclub in Diani and was accused of possessing marijuana.
Moving on, Nigerians Ibom Air, a new carrier owned by the oil-rich southeast state of Akwa Ibom, has ordered 10 narrow-body A220 jets from Airbus. Now, this was made known at Airbus's 4th deal of the Dubai Air Show. We have more on this report. Udom Gabriel Emmanuel, governor of Akwa Ibom State, said the agreement was signed to boost an enduring business strategic relationship between Akwa Ibom State government, Ibom Air and Airbus. The deal, based on the plane maker's pre-pandemic price list, is valued at some $810 million, though large aircraft purchases are typically deeply discounted. Udom Gabriel Emmanuel, governor of Akwa Ibom State, at a joint news conference with Mfom Udom, the chief executive officer of Ibom Air, and Christian Skira. Airbus's chief commercial officer said that what they were doing with those additional aircrafts is to expand their dominancy of their aviation industry in Nigeria and commence operations to the rest of Africa. The trade show typically pits France-based Airbus and its American rival, Boeing, the two manufacturers at the top of the supply chain, against each other in the crucial Mid-East market, filled with long-haul carriers connecting East and West. Boeing has yet to make a major order announcement at the show. Away from that, Libya's powerful commander Khalifa Haftar filed on Tuesday as a candidate in the country's presidential elections next month, as the long-awaited vote faces growing uncertainty. Now, Haftar submitted his candidacy papers on Tuesday in the eastern city of Benghazi and announced the move in a video. We have more on this report.
General Khalifa Haftar said that he is seeking the country's highest post to lead his people in a fateful stage. He called on Libyan people to vote with highest levels of awareness and responsibility so the nation can begin rebuilding and reconciliation after a decade of chaos and civil war. Libya has been racked by chaos since a NATO-backed uprising toppled long-time ruler Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The oil-rich nation had for years been split between a government in the east, backed by Haftar, and a United Nations-supported administration in Tripoli, aided by West-based Libyan militias. Each side has also had the support of mercenaries from countries such as Russia and Syria and different regional powers. Haftar commands the self-styled Libyan Arab Armed Forces, but delegated his military duties in September to his chief of staff Abdel Razak al-Nadhouri for 3 months to meet candidacy terms. Haftar's announcement comes after Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, the son and one-time heir apparent of the late dictator, submitted candidacy papers on Sunday in the southern town of Sabah. Saif al-Islam, who is wanted by the International Criminal Court on charges of crimes against humanity, has spent years largely in hiding. If accepted, both Haftar and Saif al-Islam would be among frontrunners in the December 24th vote. They have stirred controversy in western Libya and the capital of Tripoli, the stronghold of their opponents, mostly Islamists.
Away from that, 14 tons of smuggled gold, rubies and other gems have been illegally exported from Mozambique since at the beginning of the year. Now, according to a senior official in the Ministry of Mineral Resources on Monday. We have more on this report. Mozambique is home to some of the world's largest gemstone deposits, often mined by artisanal miners with no access to official markets. Gold, rubies, garnets, and tantalite, used to create surgical steel, have been exposed by smuggling networks since January. Fanado, a senior official in Ministry of Mineral Resources, told the local radio station. The illegal gem trade is largely concentrated in northern Mozambique, where an Islamist insurgency has forced some 800,000 people to flee their homes. Mining gems and selling them on illicit markets, sometimes through corrupt local officials, has become a means of survival for many displaced people, according to a report released in early November by the Swiss think tank Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime. The province of Cabo Delgado, the most affected by the insurgency, is home to the Montepuez ruby mine, which currently supplies more than half of the world market for new rubies. The mine has extracted $600 million worth of rubies since official operations began in 2011. Mozambique's Supreme Court Judge Rafael Sebastio Meanwhile, assured that the judicial is working to prosecute those responsible in smuggling cases. Well, thank you so much, your reporter. We take a quick break. We shall come back with the business news. Welcome back for the break. You're still watching TV Africa, the right to know. In our business news today, in Benin's small coastal town of Ouda, an initiative employs people with disabilities to transform fabric scraps into beautiful artifacts sold in big hotels in the small Western African country and abroad. Take a look at the story.
Every morning, Amake Yusuf goes around the sewing workshops of Ouda, a small coastal town in southern Benin, and collects in a large cardboard box scraps of fabric that had been used by the tailors to make clothes. Nadia Adanle, Kula Indigo founder, say that if he had to give keywords to describe this work, the first word would be wow. Chantal Benagnon, Kula Indigo worker, say that her husband told her every time that her knowledge in the field increases day by day, and is amazed at the variety of objects made from those fabric scraps. Braiding fabric scraps into objects have made a significant difference in the lives of workers with disabilities, most of whom use crutches or wheelchairs. Marcel Ajanohun, Benin tourism developer, say that what they are doing is perfectly suited to their health issues, and the result is that they create beautiful objects, marketable objects that can be used quickly, and are found in important chains such as at the MGA residence or in other places in Cotonou in Europe in the United States.
Now let's turn your attention to our health news today. US drug company Pfizer has penned a deal to allow its experimental COVID-19 treatment pill to be made and sold in 95 developing nations. Now the deal with the UN-backed medicines patent pool, not-for-profit, could make the treatment available to 53% of the world's population. We have more on this report. In a statement on Tuesday, Pfizer said the agreement will allow local medicine manufacturers to produce the pill with the goal of facilitating greater access to the global population. Pfizer will not receive royalties on sales in lower-income countries and said it would waive royalties in all nations included in the agreement while COVID remains a World Health Organization designated public health emergency. In early November, Pfizer said clinical trials suggest that its COVID-19 pill, Paxlovid, cuts the risk of hospital admission or death by 89% for high-risk adult patients. Charles Gore, director of the medicines patent pool, said in a statement that the license was important as this oral drug is particularly well suited for low and middle income countries and could play a critical role in saving lives. Most of the countries included are in Africa or Asia. However, nations like Brazil, China, Russia, Argentina, and Thailand, which have experienced major outbreaks, are not part of the deal. Some experts say this is not enough to address inequalities in access to COVID-19 treatments and vaccines. Pfizer and other pharmaceutical companies have also pushed back against calls to lift patents on their own COVID jabs. In our sports news today, African champions Algeria and 3 former AFCON winners of Tunisia, Nigeria and Cameroon clinched the final slots of the World Cup playoffs in African qualifiers. Now, Algeria were held 2-2 at home by Burkina Faso in Group A, and the point was enough to help them clinch top spot with 14 points, 2 better than the Stallions. Our reporter has more.
Riyad Mahrez and Sofiane Mehgouli scored for the Desert Foxes, while Zakaria Senoga and Issoufou Dayo got the visitors' goal. Nigeria also settled for a point at home against Cape Verde to top Group C. Victor Osimhen scored for the Super Eagles in the first minute before Stopira headed in an equalizer for the visitors, but the hosts held on to finish with 13 points, 2 ahead of the Sharks. In the other decider, Tunisia saw off visitors Zambia 3-1 to top Group B with 13 points. Aissa Laidouni, Mohamed Drega and Ali Maluli scored for the Carthage Eagles, while Rangers forward Fashion Sakala scored Chipolopolo consolation. Elsewhere, the biggest game of the night saw Cameroon Indomitable Lions edge the Elephants of Ivory Coast 1-0 thanks to Karl Toko Ekambi's first half win. The quartet joined Senegal, Morocco, Mali, Democratic Republic of Congo, Ghana and Egypt in the playoffs slated for March next year. The qualified teams are Algeria, Tunisia, Senegal, Mali, Morocco, DR Congo, Ghana, Nigeria, Cameroon and Egypt. The draw for the playoff will be held on December 18th this year.
Well, thank you so much for being a low audience from where we started from. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We shall keep updating you. It is TV Africa, the right to know.